Good afternoon, all. Okay. Hello, everyone. We are here to talk more about barriers and how do we break barriers. But as a designer, one of the things that I realize what we do on everyday basis with barriers is we try to expand them in our own way. It's not just about breaking. We try to first see it. Like, do we even notice barriers? Can we shape them? Can we invite them? Can we even befriend them? And one of the most powerful way of breaking a barrier is to expand it. And the simplest and softest way we do it effortlessly is by how we communicate. And that is what I want to talk about with you all on how simple act of communication itself can erase certain barriers in the way we go about life. Next. Yeah, so here I am talking with you all today, but am I really communicating? And we also call it TED Talks, not communicate. There's a big difference between talking and communicating. The core of it is, I think I am telling you something and you feel you're hearing something. And they may not always be the same thing. And so when it comes to communication, there are multitudes. And you don't become a single identity. Communication makes you fluid. And to know a little about who's speaking with you all today, when someone asks, okay, tell me about yourself, this is how I show. Like I'm a playlist of perspective with all these tabs. Okay, can you come down? Sorry. No, up. Yeah, the tabs. Okay, can in the middle. The next slide. No. Yeah, here. So I started as an electrical engineer, but I had a lack of learning sociology side by side, and then I tried to do sociology and energy economics and into environmental policy. So the thing I realized is we are all collector of knowledge. It doesn't mean you need to close it up to open something else. And most often it's not a pathway, it's just all the tabs running continuously on your mind. You need to know where to clear your cache, where you have to refresh and allow it to come. Yeah, but the thing about communicating is, are we really communicating it freely? We are bound back by various things. Mostly we repeat in the name of communication of what we hear. We don't let it pass through us. And the simplest way in which we can communicate as ourselves is by, it has to do with something called perspectives. Like I said, communication has the word omit in it. And we constantly communicate by omitting ourselves from the act of it. And communication actually, the root of the word came from making your understanding public. And basically it's about making your perspectives public. And it's those perspectives that defines how you communicate. And here is where everyone is creative in their own way. Creativity, I believe, is not a skill. It's more of a freedom. It's your way to liberate how you want communication to work on others. And today I'm here to offer you 3 ways in which you can choose your creative communication to unlock things little beyond what they can communicate. The first is ask yourself, are you communicating by choice or are you just choosing a default? Because the first thing is, do you really see the world that you're seeing to start communicating about it? I would want to, next slide. So here is an image. I think Okay, this is done by a medical resident who's also an illustrator. And this is the first time we are looking at an image of a black representation in medical image. And this came around 3 years back. So, a diagram can become a powerful form of representation in which where biases themselves have never been introduced. So the world was so far very used to one way of representing medical images. I'm pretty sure you will all study biology where we can see the colors that they use in the book. But something like this, something as simple as introducing representation in this. The second, I want to, it may not be only in medical. Let's say, talking about happiness as an economic measure, economic instrument. All these are, you're trying to bring a different field into another field and overlapping and making it more holistic. So, be it this or, most of the time when you open a form, some things are pre-filled already, some things are ticked already for you. Or let's say, when you search for any images like doctor, predominant are gender biased. You only get to see male, or for certain field when you search you get to see female. So that's what I realized that defaults are itself barriers disguised as convenience, and that we don't question. And when we don't question these, when they enter into our communication, we are just circulating the default. One of the things we did in our design firm is, can we bring pollution into our communication? So the thing you say is how your outlook changes based on different air quality, and then can we translate the color and bring it in. So you just see the outside world, what others are all like you yourself have been blinded to, and then can you try to bring that visibility back into how you communicate. So that's one thing. The second thing is a little tricky. Are you communicating, when you choose anything, are you defining or describing it? One way to go about it is, I'll give you a simple tool, I think, which we are all familiar with metaphors. Like you want to compare your experiences with something. You want to draw parallel association. But there is another language instrument called metonym. It doesn't substitute, it just draws a relation. So when you're talking in terms of metaphor, you're just opening up imaginations for empathy. But they don't locate the right thing. But metonyms here are more about reveals the actual thing. For example, the next one. Say sometimes you have this thing, I feel like I'm hitting my ceiling in my career. People can empathize to this, but can they really understand what is happening with it? You can try saying the year-end evaluation says I'm not a leadership material. So metonyms introduces more fact, more writing. Yeah, the next. Yeah. So in our day-to-day communication, we see ads, we see things that says very large sentences that are not immediately, you cannot locate it to anything. Let's say learning isn't a level playing field. We can all agree, but why we choose to agree is because we have our own references, metonyms in which we could relate. One of them can be the entrance exam decides who's smart enough. Yeah, the third, I think this is a common, you keep saying, everyone telling me need to think outside the box, but what does it to think outside the box? Can you start defining it a little closer? So that is so something like, why does every pitch start with a SWOT analysis? So these are the ways in which you question something that has been normalized, and then you work your way through it. Okay, I want to ask you, when you see these images, what is it that's coming to your mind? Okay. Why do you see all the objects? Yeah, I think you told it, yeah. So, this is the example of metonyms, right? These are objects that stand holding for the beach. They don't represent AR. So you don't have to talk about beach as beach, you can talk about it as smaller objects in your everyday. So when you start looking at atomic level, you can expose various things in your communication. The same thing, we see columns every day. Columns are actually the food, the rangoli that you draw at the outside of your home. It's a cultural welcoming or you're feeding the small organisms. And they say, at the end of the day, the column has to be erased by the small organism. That is what fulfills your cosmic balance. But today we have interestingly used it, the next one. In our password devices, like we still use it as a permission to come in. So you keep seeing metonyms every day, but we don't realize we still draw in the imagination. So the more you locate what you want to communicate, that helps you. And yeah, the last thing is very important as a researcher. This question keep coming, right? We all have gut feelings, but how much weight you have to give it when it comes to your intuition or information. So do you really value your gut? And in communication, we do use this one model. It's a very simple model. It's called valence arousal mapping. So when I ask you how are you doing, majority of you will say I'm fine. But can I ask you further? Can you define what is fine? We are not trained ourselves to be more specific into how excited we are about any feeling. So this valence arousal mapping helps you do that. And when we start doing it, that is when when we say the most important question in design is at the end, what feeling do we want to leave the users with or the human with? It's not what engagement, it's not what action. Any communication you do, again, what should seed into them? It's always an emotion. So how do we go about it is, basically you see two axes. One just says how excited you are about something, how calm you are about something. The other two axes are, is it a positive feeling or is it a negative feeling? You can try taking any word and circulate through it. For example, here I am taking the talk. I'm here talking with you all. The most happiest talk you can hear is someone's stand-up comedy. It's a form of talk. It goes down to wedding toast, TED talks, inspiration. But the lowest form of, energy is, let's say, bedtime story. It's again an activity of talk, but it doesn't excite you. It just puts you in peace, or meditation or prayers. On the negative side, you see someone outcrying, debate clashing, protesting. They are a talk, but they get into a negative energy. And terms like legal disclaimer, lead out, no one listens and so on. So every time you're feeling something, understand which map you're in, and when we can map and associate with it, works good. So as I say, if you feel strongly, it itself is a data. It cannot face it. And that's why creativity actually begins when language stops, and you cannot always discount that. So the three things you saw here today is we inherit defaults without even knowing about it, questioning, and we keep reinforcing them through how we define things. So you don't even understand where the defaults come from, but you use it in your communication and spread it. And we feel that friction when we try to feel what we communicate before even we talk. And this is what I want to. Next one. So creativity breaks not through forces but perspectives when you are more aware of what you are saying, why you are saying, and how did it even come to your thing. You don't share with communication, you shift with communication. You shift others' mindset with communication. And that's all. Whoever you are, you have your own perspectives, you have emotion, and that's all you need to be creative, just to package and express it differently. So the next time, ask yourself, as an act of communication, are you setting something free, or are you yourself, building an invisible wall in how you choose to communicate? Thank you.
Thought-provoking reflection on creativity. Thank you, Indhu sir, for encouraging us to pause and